In today's video, we're going to compare Garth Snow's prospect pool when Lou Lamoriello took over and Lou Lamoriello's prospect pool now to see who has the better one. Have you hit the subscribe button yet? If you have, thank you. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? It's like right down there. Go ahead, it's super easy. Now today's video is going to compare Lou Lamoriello's prospect pool to Garth Snow's prospect pool. And you're going to say, well, Lou hasn't really been here nearly as long as Garth Snow has, so how are you going to compare that? And so what I'm going to do here is, Lou Lamoriello's been here for 5 years, right? 18, or has had 5 drafts. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And I'm going to do the same thing with Garth Snow and look at his 5 drafts prior to Lou Lamoriello taking over. So that's 17, 16, 15, 14, and 2013. Now it's going to be hard to figure out exactly who was and wasn't still in the prospect pool when Lou Lamoriello took over, right? Like who was on an ELC, who left, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to do that. I just looked at the last 5 drafts before Lou Lamoriello took over, pulled a list. I did take out some players though. There's no goalies here. I'm not looking at any goalie that Garth drafted, and I'm not looking at any goalie that Lou drafted. I'm also not taking any player who's currently on the NHL roster. So that's no Barzy, no Bo, no Pollock for Garth, and no Dobson, no Wallstrom for Lou Lamoriello. Now to the fun part. How do we measure strength, and how do we compare whose is better and whose is worse? What I did is I used NHLE, and I know it's not perfect, but it gives us a nice number to look at without having to pull like a million different data points and comparing and contrasting, blah, blah. It makes it nice and easy and gives us a good overall as far as the strength of various prospect pools. Now here's the list of both GMs for Lou Lamoriello and Garth Snow with the player name, the position, their NHLE, and their rank within that specific prospect pool. So you've got Lou on the left and Garth on the right, or at least that's what it is for me. Just read. So you'll see right there that Lou's list is a little bit longer than Garth's, but by like 2 names. So really, it's not that big of a difference. He's not gaining a massive advantage. And so the average NHLE for Lou Lamoriello is 13.7. For Garth Snow, it's 11.1. So Garth Snow's prospect pool is weaker on average than Lou Lamoriello's. Now that's just looking at the average of a pretty big prospect pool, right? There's a lot of names in that list. And so you can have a really, really bad prospect. Let's say someone you take in the 7th round that you're really just throwing a dart on and who knows what's going to happen. They can drag down a really good prospect, let's say a 1st round pick who you're banking on making the NHL. So the average score of that 7th round pick could really drag down that 1st round pick in an average. And so what I've done now is I've just focused on the top 10 players for each GM in their respective periods. So for Lou Lamoriello, that means today. Who are the top 10 prospects in his prospect pool today? And for Garth Snow, that's 2018. Who are his top 10 prospects? And what is the difference between both GMs? And so for Lou Lamoriello, his top 10 prospects based off of NHLE today are, in order, Russ Nishikov, Robin Salo, Samuel Bolduc, Durando, Jeffries, Koivula, Maggio, Lundqvist, Ratu, and Finley. Those are the top 10s. Now compare that to Garth Snow's top 10. Now Garth Snow's list. Golashev, Taze, Aho, Ho-Sang, Van de Sample, Bellows, Delcol, Koivula, Quine, and Witherspoon. Now, the one thing you'll take away from that, if not focusing on Alan Quine's name being there, is the fact that there are 3 first-round picks in Garth Snow's list, and there isn't a single one in Lou Lamoriello's list. Sure, he's only made 3, but 2 of them are already in the squad with Oliver Wallstrom and Noah Dobson. So that only leaves 1 first-round pick who isn't in Lou Lamoriello's top 10, and still Lou Lamoriello's top 10 on average is better in NHLE with a 22.8 compared to Garth Snow's 19.4. So it's not a huge difference, but we're dealing with averages here, right? And you look at Garth Snow's list and you have Parker Witherspoon at the bottom anchoring that with a 10.8 NHLE. And then you have for Lou Lamoriello, Quinn Finley with a 15.6 NHLE. That's the worst one in the top 10 is Quinn Finley, a guy who's only 18 years old now. He was drafted as a 17-year-old. So who has the better prospect pool, Garth Snow or Lou Lamoriello? I'm going to say it's Lou Lamoriello, right? The NHLE is just better than Garth Snow. And I know I'm only looking at 5 years for Garth Snow, but Lou's only been here for 5 years. If he stays for 12 like Garth did, then we'll look at the full 12 years for both. But until that happens, I'm just going to look at the 5. And with that, Lou Lamoriello has the better prospect pool. And just looking at NHLE without actually considering he's got fewer top-end prospects pulled in. Right? Like, he only has 3 first-round picks in there, and we're forgetting 2 of them. We can't do that for Garth Snow. They didn't make the team. Lou Lamoriello has just been able to do more with less. He's squeezing blood out of rocks. And while Garth Snow has got his share of successful 4th-rounders, Golishev and that rate, Taze, right? Aho's a 5th-round pick. Lou Lamoriello has consistently got decent prospects out of the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and even 6th round. So it's Lou Lamoriello. Maybe not by a landslide, but it's definitely Lou Lamoriello. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I don't know what you're waiting for, but go ahead and do it. And if you have already, or just about to go do it, thank you, thank you, thank you.